Hello and welcome to the December edition of the Darlo Till I Die podcast. I'm Adam Cattell, and Darlo was sent crashing back down to earth with a 5-1 hammering at Oxford City. Their sixth league game unbeaten run over, but it's not all doom and gloom. Quakers are still nicely placed through a playoff tilt in 2026. To help break it all down today, I'm joined firstly by Andrew Hodgson. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm okay, thanks Adam, nice to be here.
Thank you. I should add, Andy is here at the 11th hour, quite literally, having to step in for someone who was having some technical issues. So big thanks to Andy for coming in at the last minute replacement. And joining Andy, I'm very pleased to welcome a very patient Paul Compton. How are you doing, Paul?
I'm very well, and my patience is continuing. It's fine, thank you.
It's certainly been tested this last hour or so. Well, let's come to you first, Paul. Anyone who's making their first appearance on this podcast, I do like to hear a bit about their time supporting the club. So, tell us a little bit about your journey supporting this fine football club.
Yeah, thanks, Adam, and thank you for having me on today. So my journey started probably around about 1990. Previous to that, I was probably, as a kid, I grew up in a bit of a strange household. It was a little bit Montagues and Capulets. My dad's side are all Newcastle fans and my mum's side are all Sunderland fans. So we're recording today in the Newcastle-Sunderland derby. So I'm glad to be out of that and not dealing with all the arguments and the fights that are probably likely to happen. I kind of spent a lot of my early years going to Newcastle games with my dad, but it never quite kind of stuck with me. And then one day, I think after the promotion season of 89-90, obviously hot topic at the moment with the shirts being announced with the theme of that era. I think with the promotion around that, I started to understand that Darlington had a team, and I wanted to go. Badgered my dad. He took me to the games a bit more. Really enjoyed that season where we got promoted from the old Division 4. And it just seemed a little bit more in tune, really, coupled with, at the time I was at school with the late, great Frank Tweddle, who was my teacher. And it was great to not only hear from him. He didn't talk about Darlo a lot at school. You had the occasional comments, but to be able to read his stuff in the programme as well at the weekend, and he was a person who encouraged me to write quite a lot from a young age, was really brilliant. So, that started to make it stick a little bit more. And then, school friends, and Adam, you and I went to the same school and had a group of friends who were Darlo fans, and it just became a natural fit. And I went to more games and just became a Darlo fan from there. And then continued, always Darlo till I die, but continued up until the Barrow game was probably a time when I had a bit of a period of not going to the games quite often, because I now live in Dorset. Travelled all the way from Dorset to Barrow for that game in a day and back, which was an adventure and a half. And because of family life and living quite far away, I didn't get to see the games as much. So it's only recently my son, who's got into football a little bit more, he's Dorset born and bred, but he's become a massive Darlo fan at distance, and he's got really into it. And through him, I've got a bit more into it myself. And I took him to Oxford last week. We'll talk a bit more about that in a bit. And continuing to see us through thick and thin.
Yeah, definitely. I can see Andy nodding away there when you mentioned Frank Tweddle. I'm sure there's a number of fans listening to this podcast who'd be familiar with Frank, who, as you mentioned, did sadly pass away earlier this year. Certainly remember reading his contributions in the matchday programme. So you do mention that Oxford City game there, Paul. You made the short hop from Dorset to Oxford. You might have been wishing you didn't, but how did you? Well, give us your reflection on that game.
Well, it was a day out, and my son got to go and see Darlo, so he's been badgering me all season to get to go see it, and that's the closest game to us. I think there's a couple of us that are kind of similar, like Merthyr, but not the nicest drive from Dorset. So we had a lovely day in Oxford. The game itself, I mean, people are saying about it being comparable to Telford, which is a game I was also at. So I think I probably need to start keeping away from Darlo games.
Jonah,
I mean, I wouldn't say it was like for like Telford at all. There's definite improvement since Telford. you could see what we were trying to do, and we're trying to get it organised a little bit more. The back is an issue, as we know, and it was a real issue on the day. Getting hit with those 3 goals early on, in the first half, just made it so much more difficult. You could see the frustration in the players. There's people like Charlie Lennon who, in the physicality of this league, there's days when he can cope with that, and there's days when they can target him. And I think he tried to get things going quite early on in the first half, and was just every time he was getting the ball rubbed off him. And I think it wasn't until he came off and he switched Max Howells in the second half that he realised that he just really does not being a feature in the game that kept him silent. So there was a few things that just went against us on that day. The defence, and I'm sure we'll talk a little bit more about it, being one of those things, just getting hit on the attack by some really pacey people is a real challenge for us. But I wouldn't say it was exactly like Telford, apart from Jamie Pardington being in goal. He was on loan at Telford, wasn't he, from Lincoln for a game? And then as soon as I saw him walk out for the Oxford game, I went, "Oh, not again! No, we can't have this again." Yeah,
he just loves playing Darlo, didn't he? That lad, yeah.
Yeah, well, he was absolutely. Yeah, he was trotting off like, "Yeah, great. Can we play you every week?" Yeah. But we didn't trouble him. It wasn't like he's a bogey person because he was pulling off worldy saves all the time. He didn't really get much of a trying time on goal. Maybe he's pulled off the odd one. Most of our stuff was just getting filtered out by the time we hit the box, as much as we were trying hard, and particularly in the second half. So, just a frustrating day. But look at the run we've been on before that. In no way do I feel like that game is a marker of where we are as a side. We're absolutely way better than that, and will be, I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. So, of course, missing both Toby Lees and Scott Barrow as well was always going to have an effect, wasn't it? I might then come to you, Andy. I think last season on the podcast, I was commenting the lack of a striker most episodes, whereas this season, a bit of a reversal, it seems to be the lack of a centre-back. So what are your thoughts then? Because it's a bit of a tricky one, isn't it, with using the 5 loan signings? How critical is it to get a centre-back in?
I think the way we are set up, we're going to concede goals, but we're going to score a lot of goals as well. Obviously, Oxford, we had to tinker with the formation because of suspensions and stuff like that. The loan thing makes it tricky because it's like, who do you wouldn't want to let any of those lads go on loan, would you? There's not one you'd want to go, so you're going to have to bring someone in permanently. I'm of the view if once we get Forbes back and Barrow back, I mean, look, it's the same defence as last season. That's the thing. It's the same defence, and we were pretty strong last season. It would be nice to bring a centre-back in if we could get one. I just think the way we set up and the attacking style that we play, we are going to concede goals anyway. To answer your question, I think we're okay at the moment because we're going to score loads of goals. So,
yeah, we're definitely the entertainers this season. We have conceded, I think it's 36 goals. Actually, I'm looking at the league table here. Merthyr in third, who are absolutely flying, have actually conceded a goal more than we have. They've conceded 37. So, yeah, there you go.
Interestingly, Adam, goal scoring wise, we're on 42 goals. We've not even played 23 games yet. In the whole of last season, we scored 61. So yeah.
It just goes to show, doesn't it? I mean, you mentioned last season, Andy. We were just having endless conversations about, God, we can't score, we can't finish in front of goal, and it's hampering us. Now look at where it is. It's completely flipped. We are scoring really well, and you can see where goals are going to come from multiple players. It's not like we've got one out-and-out striker who is knocking them in repetitively. We've scored from so many people from midfield and even defence, actually. Toby Lees has grabbed a couple, hasn't he? That is really fantastic. And yeah, I think the defence stuff will come. It's really tricky, the loan situation, I think. Some of it our hand might be forced in January. We've got some clubs there that might want to bring people back. Gateshead might want to bring Will McGowan back if struggling. I hate to say it. I'm not going to give them ideas, but you know, and you look at Charlie and Max, might be one of those that we end up losing, and you know, that could open up something for a defender to come in if we need it. But it's not like they're just sat there on a shop shelf waiting for us to go and grab them. You know, a big burly defender. We're halfway through a season. Anyone who's really worth their salt are going to be playing regularly for those games, for those teams. So I don't know where it's necessarily going to come from if we do go out onto that market. But, you know, I have full confidence in Steve and Terry's ability to find people. They've proved themselves time and time again that they can be pretty coy in the transfer market. So, yeah, we'll see what happens come January.
Yeah, definitely more hits than misses, I think, for Steve and Terry when it comes to who they've brought in. Yeah, with the centre-back, yeah, it's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I think lots of fans are sort of, we're crying out for that Alan White, Gary Brown, Kevin Burgess kind of no-nonsense figure, but they don't grow on trees, do they, Andy? It's a real bit of a conundrum that we've got.
Unfortunately not. But like I say, the formation 3-5-2, it's worked really well. It's definitely coincided with our you know, recent upturn in form, and I don't think it's any surprise that, like I say, our hand was forced with Oxford, but then, you know, it just seems to make us more open when we haven't got Platt and McLaughlin as the two sort of holding midfielders that allows McGowan to go and do what he can do, which is absolutely amazing, really. So yeah.
Well, talking about defenders, of course, we were missing Scott Barrow in that Oxford game. I did manage to take advantage of that by managing to grab a chat with Scott just a couple of hours before we kicked off that game against Oxford. He was back in his native Wales, just having a bit of family time. So he was good enough to give me some of his time. So coming up now is my chat with Scott. Myself, Paul and Andy will be right back after this. Delighted to say my guest on the pod today is Scott Barrow. We're chatting just a couple of hours before Darlo get underway against Oxford City, a game Scott sadly can't be involved in because he's serving the last match of a 2-game suspension. I think we'd all rather have him out there on the pitch, but it has at least given him a chance to return to his native Wales for a quick recharge. Just a couple of things before we get going. Scott's wrapped up his Movember challenge. He's still sporting the moustache, I can see there, but he's raised over £1,000 on awareness for men's health. So brilliant effort for a brilliant cause. And as some listeners may know, this podcast is proud to be Scott's shirt sponsor this season. So it's great to finally get him on for a proper chat. Scott, welcome to the pod, or should I say, is it Croeso, if my Welsh is passable there?
No, that's very good. Thank you for having me, and I can't wait for this, to be honest.
Yeah. Fantastic. So, yeah, how are you doing? I mean, it must be frustrating for you today, having to sit this one out.
Yeah, it's frustrating. Like I've been saying to a lot of kids in school over the last couple of months, I said I've never ever had a red card in my life. But this year I've had 2, so it must be my age catching up with me. But no, it is a bit strange. Obviously, like Saturdays, normally I go for my routine, waking up early and do my prep, do my stuff as I normally do for a game day. But it's the last Saturday, and obviously this Saturday is a little bit different. But it's a little bit better today. Obviously, being back home in Wales, come see my family and that. So, but I will be listening to the boys on the radio later on, and hopefully we can get another 3 points.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? I think just to start, Scott, I'm going to take you back to what was a really tough afternoon a couple of months ago, post-game against Telford in the FA Cup. I don't want to dwell on that game at all, but because what's been so impressive has been the response from the boys since that game. So without sort of sharing anything that needs to stay in the dressing room, could you give us maybe a sense of what was discussed after that defeat? Because I know Steve had the boys in there for some time. So, yeah, could you maybe give us an idea as what needed to be said that's helped spark this turnaround?
I think a lot needed to be said. We were playing kind of well, but always the second half was always the kind of the problem at the start of the season. We had a good start to the first half, always go 2-0 in front or 1-0 in front, whatever it was. And the second half then was, always lackluster. It was the opposition that always had more energy in us, to be honest. And then that Telford game, I always kept saying, like, we kept playing like this, and we're going to get a hammering one day. And that day come. You know, I'd probably rather have it in a league game than a cup game, which is important for the club and the fans. But that day they were just more ruthless than us, more aggressive, hungry, and I think it just made it worse. You know, it was 6-0 at home. I'm not gonna lie, it's probably up there for one of the worst moments of my career. You can tell by the post-match interview. I looked like a dejected. I looked hurt. I looked, you know, a lot of people were worried about me, to be honest, because like the picture for the post-match interview didn't really do justice either. I looked like a broken man, to be honest, which I was. But that changed that night. That after the game, you know, a lot was said, and I think mostly it come from us. You know, all the pressure that goes to the manager, the pressure that goes to Terry, but in realistic, it's on us. You know, he picked the team that he thinks is going to win a cup tie or pick up 3 points, and we the ones that got to deliver. But we weren't delivering, far from it. And from that match, I think, you know, we picked up a few results, and then we lost one. But I think the Merthyr one just done it for us. You know, going down to 10 men and playing as a team who were flying at the time. And the second half, and I think it was, I kind of said something at half time. I said, like, why don't we just go to a 3 and give it a go? You know, I feel like a 3 at the back kind of suits his team because the energy we got in the wings and stuff like that, and the experience we have at the back, and playing 2 up front because you got 3 strikers instead of playing 1. And that afternoon when we went 2-0 down, we absolutely battered Merthyr in the second half. You know, we got one back. We created a number of chances. Conceded 1 goal in the second half and 1 shot, but it just went from there. We went to the 3 at the back next game. We won, and it's literally from Merthyr. But I think we always knew we had the togetherness in the squad. And no, like I said all the time, we all love each other. No, we fight for the badge every time we step on that pitch. But it was a transition. Always had a few more players in this year, a lot of younger players this year, and it takes time for them because they play men's football. Takes time for them to gel in a men's game. It's a lot tougher than an academy football. But now you can see the rewards that we have from the work ethic and the desire that the club want to go in the right direction.
Let's go back to when you first signed for Darlington, because I think it was initially on loan. I think you were Steve's first signing just after he takes over, but you knew him from your time together at York and Gateshead. And I guess when you did arrive, Scott, Darlo were looking down the barrel. Really, it wasn't looking good at all. We were sort of odds on to be relegated, I think, and you play a massive part in that great escape that follows then. So I want to ask you, what was it about Steve then, the challenge that made you take that loan move, and did you honestly think survival was still possible at that point?
Obviously, I worked with Steve in previous clubs. I was at Gateshead before Steve came in, and just his presence around the change room. When he first came in, he spoke to me because he was previously assistant manager at Macclesfield, where I was a couple of years before under John Askey, and John Askey just said, like, to Steve, if you want the best out of Scott Barrow, just let him do his job, just let him be free, because he literally runs through bricks walls for you. And that day, I remember the conversation I had, and you know, I think it was probably one of the best half of the seasons I've ever had. So under Steve, I had something like 5 goals and 11 assists in the second half of the season, and he just let me have freedom, and I enjoyed playing under him. He left, and he promised me he'd take me wherever I go, wherever he goes. So he took me to York, and then it was that time at York when I was injured. I just didn't know where I was going to go, what I was going to do. No, I fought back to play football. Didn't think I'd play football again. Just waiting for my opportunity, and it never quite come. I know, even though there was a few left backs out injured, you know, the manager at York was putting other players in the left back position and not myself, which I understand then I weren't going to fit. And I was just waiting for the right opportunity, right moment. I didn't have one, and then I remember my dad rang me on a day before. Steve rang me and he said like, "Oh, Watto's taking over Darlington." And he's like, "Oh, I wonder if he'd take you on loan." I was like, he won't take me on loan. And then the next day I was traveling to training and I had a phone call at Hartlepool. He said, "Where you're at and do you want to come?" And I knew that where the club was and the situation. Yeah. That didn't really bother me. I just wanted to play football. I wanted to see if I can get back to the way I was playing at York. Performances I was putting in and stuff like that. And to be honest, like since I come back and like I said, I signed for Darlo, I thoroughly enjoyed football. He took a different perspective on football. I think I enjoy it a lot more now than I did when I was probably playing at York and previous clubs. And like I said, my performances for an old man now, to be fair, my performances are pretty good, to be honest. And some of the lads at the club thinking like, how the hell are you playing at 37 and you put in performances like that? And I got a top sprint speed in the team. Like it's like I said, I'm
really?
Just enjoying it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm the top. It doesn't look like it, but like I said, when we have a GPS stats on a Saturday or Tuesday, like my speed is always the highest. So, I'm doing things right. But like I said, when that opportunity came to play under the gaffer again, it was kind of a no-brainer. He knew what he was going to get out of me, like hard working, organisation, probably like saying quality on the football. That's what he wants. And I knew what I was going to get from him. So it kind of panned out really perfectly. And like I said, and I really enjoyed that half a season. Even though we stayed up, the Great Escape. That's like I said, that season just made me realise then that I love football. I want to carry on playing football, and there's only one club I wanted to be at the next year after that was Darlo. And like I said, I'm fully enjoying my time there. And like I said, hopefully it carries on continuing and see what happens in the future.
Yeah, well, speaking of enjoying your football, then both Geordie and Deontay have got in touch to ask about your connection with the Darlington supporters. What is it about the Darlo fan base that stands out for you compared to maybe other clubs you've played for?
A lovely bunch of people welcoming. Like I say, when you walk through it, I remember walking through my first home game I played against one of my previous clubs, Tamworth. And I remember walking through reception. It was just the welcoming I had. I said, you got Joanne and Cheryl at the front desk, and like I said, more welcoming. Like they must know I'm a Welshman because, like I said, us Welsh people, we love hugs and stuff like that. They were giving me hugs. The volunteers who are around the club, they're so happy. Like they say hello to you every time you see you. Like it's just little things like that, and just makes it a fantastic club. Again, support I've had in the last couple of days when I brought that thing out. I didn't really obviously mention about my times and obviously the struggles I've had last year. Like I say, probably everyone thinking like, well, you see Scott on the football pitch, he's happy, he's always smiling, he's like joking with the linesman or the referees. I'm joking with the crowd when I got a throw in. But they don't know me on the other side of things. They see me Scott Barrow as the footballer. Like they don't see me Scott Barrow on the outside of football, and that's where the struggle's been, and the support I had from that. Like say November, I had 130 odd pound going into the last week, and I've raised over £1,000. And mostly of the donations are from Darlington fans. So, they are such a great. This is such a good club. Fans are fantastic. Like I say, hopefully, we can keep putting the smiles on their faces. The way we're playing at the moment, and who knows what will happen this year? Like if we can get in the playoffs and sneak promotion, you never know. It'd be a nice way to end it. But like I said, like it's the fans are fantastic, and it's a fan-owned club as well. So like I said, it makes it even more better that they care about the club. And but most importantly as well, that us players as well, we care about the club as well and the fans, and that's what makes it a fantastic club.
Tom's emailed he says, obviously the dressing room will be buzzing at the minute with the form the boys are in, but he wants to ask you about how you feel about the direction of the club at the moment. You mentioned there the playoffs and possibility to get back into the National League. Yeah, what sort of trajectory do you think the club's on?
Massive trajectory. Like I said, when I first came in, we got that fight in relegation last year. I felt like we could have snuck in the playoffs last year, but we were kind of going up and down with our performances last year. But like this year, I think it's just like I feel a good factor. We're always on the rise, and a club that's going in the right direction shows that, like I said, like you were fighting relegation first year, didn't quite get in the playoffs last year. But then look where we are now. The club is going in the right direction. It's a tough league. It's a very tough league.
Yeah.
We spoke about it, I think last week, about, you look at the National League now, it's mostly full-time clubs. And now you see the full-time system coming into the National League North and the South, to be honest. You've got likes of Buxton, Shields, Kidderminster, all them. You've got a couple of clubs like Chester who are doing a hybrid. So the league is getting a lot tougher, But like I said, it's obviously to be where you want to be. For a club like Darlo at the moment, we just got to be sensible with the signings that we are doing and making sure that they fit the right mould of the club, and which the Teddy and the Gaffer know what they want, and they know that they want good people in the club as well, which we have got. That's the most important thing. But like I said, for the club to, like I say, to go a little bit higher. Now, obviously, I think Will Hatfield put it on the other day. It is a fan-known club, but like I said, like you look at football these days, money talks now. Money talks. So, but we're not all about someone's going to come in with millions and millions and millions of pounds. It's just maybe owning your own stadium. I think if you can get that sooner or later announcement or anything that you're going to get your own stadium, then then you can make money off that, and the club's going to make a profit off that then. So hopefully that will be some good news sooner or later about the club, because the club deserves it. Now, it's been through tough times, but now it's on the rise again. Like I said, you've got two fantastic managers, you've got a group of players that are fighting for the badge, and the best thing is you've got to support, especially home and especially away, because we take a lot of numbers the way, and sometimes when you go to an away game, the away fans are more louder than the home fans. So, like I say, the club's in the right direction. We just got to keep doing it week in, week out, take each game differently and see where it takes us at the end.
Yeah, brilliant. You mentioned Will Hatfield there, Scott. Of course, Will was on the last pod just after his ACL surgery. I asked him who was the most likely in the squad to maybe become a manager, and he said your name. So is that something you'd like to do when you do decide the time is to hand up the boots? Because I know you're involved in coaching outside of Darlington. Is it a Fast Feet Football Academy that you do? Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that really never come across my mind. But when I was injured at York, I think John Askey left, and I ended up becoming interim assistant manager just for 3 games, and it kind of took away the struggles of doing the rehab for football. But then it gave me a little bit of more purpose as well for the rehab and the football as well. So it kind of changed my mind a little bit. And then by the end of the season, then I said I stepped away from it to go and do my rehab again. And then the next manager left, and the one who stepped up, he wanted me to help him out to be assistant manager to the end of the season. So then I was kind of a bit of a permanent. So that gave me a different purpose. But yeah, something I might want to do, whether it be, I don't know, manager would probably be suited me. I don't know, probably unless I give it a go. Maybe like assistant manager or first team coach or something like that, maybe. But yeah, it's something that I probably will be interested in. I'm kind of doing my coaching badges as well, so I got my final one next week. And yeah, who knows? Like I said, who knows? Maybe, there's me saying at the end of the season I might hang my boots up, but you never know. Carry on playing and get a little first team coach role at the side of it. I don't know. Like I said, who knows? I always say I'll hang my boots up, but like I said, like a lot of people say to me that you're too young.
One more year. One more.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing.
So
year. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so watch this space. Yeah. We'll just with the questions. Got a couple more here. These are a little bit lighter. James wants to know, Welsh rarebit or a Parmo? Where does your loyalties lie there?
I'm not gonna lie, right? I saw that question the other day.
Yeah.
And I've
did you?
no clue what the hell they are.
What? Well, you know what a Welsh rabbit is, don't you?
I know what it is, but like I said, I don't have a clue what a part. I forgot to ask my mum that, to be honest. And I just have to go with Welsh rabbit because I actually know what it is. I don't know what the other one is.
Right.
So
yeah, a palmo. It's it's sort of a northeast special.
I thought it was a Welsh thing, to be honest.
No. It's
well, I go for the Welsh rabbit then because it's a Welsh thing. So I'll choose that.
Staying on the food theme, then, if Ruth has asked if you could invite 3 footballers, past or present, to a dinner party, who would they be?
Tough one there. Past or present, one has to be David Beckham for one. Second would be Messi, just because he's just absolute class player. And then one for, as I'm a Welshman, coach that
There's a few to pick from, isn't there? Yeah.
Coach, he used to coach me as a kid when I was at Swansea, and we still speak now. And he used to play for Swansea as well. Alan Curtis is probably another one. He's like a Swansea legend, to be honest, and he was one of my coaches when I was a kid. And he still looks out my football, so I'd probably, them 3 probably be on a dinner table with me. So I'll be interested.
Beckham, Messi, and Alan, yeah. No, they're having Welsh rabbit. Brilliant. All right. Another question. This one's from Harvey. I think you might know Harvey, who works in the social media team. He said, "Hi, Scott." Hi. Yes. Well, this is his question. He says, "Hi, Scott. I'm a huge fan of yours. I've been following your footballing journey since Port Talbot. My question is, who is dumb and who is dumber out of the commentary boys?"
That's a tough question. Well, because it's Harvey asked the question, I'll have to go with Max. Yeah. I'll have to go with the other one.
Max is dumb and Harvey's dumber. Yeah.
Yeah, then I'll do, because Harvey asked the question. I'll swap them 2 rounds. So.
Brilliant. Darlington FC Foundation asked you, what's the best night out you've had this year? And why was it at the Foundation?
It's definitely the Foundation. Like I said, I turned up for the Foundation for awards evening. It was a fantastic evening. It was inspirational, to be fair. Like I said, it was a really good evening. Lots of smiles, lots of happy people. But it was inspirational. Like I said, some of the stories and some backgrounds, and like I said, I did shed a tear a little bit. Some of the stories, but no, it was that was a fantastic evening. Bar the one after it, it was Telford the next day. That was a write-off.
Was it?
Like
right. Oh, dear.
Yeah, that was a write-off. But no, the day before Telford, it was a fantastic evening, and something that if they have me, I would happily do it again.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they would. I'll finish with this then, Scott. Not really a question. This one is from my dad. He wants to tell me you're his favourite player. He also thinks, Scott, that you're the best passer of a ball in the Darlington squad. So what do you think of that? Does my dad know ball, or do I need to start looking at aged care brochures for him?
Nah, he knows his football, to be fair. He knows his football. It's probably the best part of my game. Is my passing. Whether it's short distance or whether it's long distance. And to be honest, I don't really see. I'm always probably critical of myself when I am playing, especially when I give the ball away now. But it's like I said, a lot of people say I am probably one of the best passers. So yeah, I will literally. He was totally spot on there. I'll 100%.
He'll be happy with that. Yeah, he'll be pleased with that, my dad. Yeah, brilliant. All right, Scott, look, I'm going to let you go because I know you're going to be tuning in to Darlo Fans Radio shortly, and fingers crossed, can keep this run going. And and then obviously I think we've got a little bit of a break then, haven't we? And then back into those Christmas, New Year fixtures. So many thanks for joining me today, Scott. I really appreciate it. And looking forward to seeing you back in the Darlo ship.
It'd be nice to have me Saturdays back instead of waking up doing absolutely nothing. So, but I appreciate you having me, and like I said, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. Huge thanks to Scott there for taking the time to chat. Can't wait to see him back in the starting 11. I'm sure I don't speak for myself there. Chaps, just before we get on to a bit of a quiz, I thought I might ask you about your Darlington Mount Rushmore. This seems quite popular on the old Facebook and whatnot. So I think the idea is, if I got this right, you've got to pick four individuals who have sort of legendary status within your club. So, Paul, I'm going to come to you first, and who might sort of spring to mind if I pick your Darlington Mount Rushmore?
Four's really difficult, isn't it? You think about our history and some of the characters we've had. I'm going to put Lids high up on there. I think Craig Liddell needs to be there. He's God, in my opinion. Probably a goal scorer. Maybe it's Gabbiadini. I think some older people will probably go for Walsh, but maybe it's Gabbiadini. I think we've probably got to get Ron Greener in there. Most appearances for the club, you can't not include him. And then there's a load that I'd probably want to include in it. Maybe it's Alfred Watson. I think the history of the club and going right back to the beginning, the pride we should have in having the first black footballer, and and what that means for the club and what that means for football in general. So maybe it's there. God, I can even probably think about top four managers, let alone just players. You can throw Hodgson in there. You can throw Brian Little. You can put Cyril Nose on there. God, I can think of a few more. Martin Gray.
Ooh, controversial, Martin Gray. Yeah, you can really split the room there. I must admit. I mean, you've pretty much mentioned all the ones I had there, Paul. I was going to say Brian Little, having started supporting the club myself with that GM Vauxhall Conference title, and then following that up with the fourth division. So I did have Brian. I think you've got to have Hodgie on there, haven't you? Just. I know he didn't really win anything for the club, but
3 times a Quaker, though.
Yeah, for all of that, And then I was going to have, obviously, Craig Little's got to be on anyone's. And then, a bit of a tough one. Gabba's there for a couple of seasons. Yeah, he was fantastic. One of the best players I've seen in a Darlington shirt. I mean, I think Stephen Thompson as well. Think a bit more recently, what he achieved with Darlo. 100 goals equaling Alan Walsh, who was a bit before my time, Alan. But a bit of a tricky one. Go on then, Andy. What do you reckon? Put you on the spot.
I think you've stolen my thunder there, guys. I mean, for me, I would probably, for my Rushmore, I'd pick players that I'd seen. So Liddell, Gabbiadini's a great shout, and Stephen Thompson. And I'm surprised no one's mentioned More Diop as well in Mount Rushmore. I'm kidding. I think you've got the bases really well covered there. So some really good players in there, and Wharton and Green are great shouts as well, especially with the historical sort of legacy around Wharton. I think that's a really good shout, Paul.
Yeah, definitely so. All right. One to think about. You can send yours in, listener. Let us know who's on your Darlo Mount Rushmore. Let's have a quiz, guys. We're going to move on to a quiz now. Andy, obviously.
Can I just say, Andy, before we start this, I've had to cope with this ever since school, because Adam used to sit in GCSE science and just say, Paul, can you tell me? And just fire these questions at me. So it's interesting, Adam, that you've taken it all the way through to this podcast as a feature.
You should be all right. And Paul, he's probably told you some of these questions in the past.
I never took it all in, though.
Well, let's see how you do with these then, Paul. Andy, I'm going to let you go first. So we've got 4 questions each, chap. So this is question number 1. Now, obviously, this was going to be for a different guest, Andy, but you're just going to have to roll with it, mate. So, which former Northern Ireland international broke his leg playing for Darlington in his only appearance for the Quakers back in 1996?
Well, I was actually at this game behind the goal where it happened, so I remember it very well. It was John McClelland.
It was in the derby there against Hartlepool. Yeah, I was at that game as well, and I think he was about 40, 41 at the time, McClelland, and
he was.
He'd won the old First Division with Leeds United, before it became the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he's sort of a pretty decent pedigree. Been to 2 World Cups with Northern Ireland as well in the 80s.
Ex-Rangers as well, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah,
ex-Rangers. So
I
I
can
remember he was having
still
a
see
really
his.
good
I can
game.
still. Yeah, he was having a good game, and I can still
Mm.
see. Yeah, I can still see his leg pointing in the
Yeah,
wrong
it was
direction.
horrible.
Yeah,
Oh.
vividly.
It was.
Yeah,
Poor
it was,
dog,
it was
yeah.
bad. Yeah.
Yeah. I can tell you he's now a postman, having done a bit of a deep
Oh.
dive into John McClelland in the last week or so. He's a postie. So, John McClelland. So that's you off the mark, Andy. Right, Paul, I'm coming
God, I
to you.
feel intimidated now.
Oh, come on. Paul, who appeared in the 1987 FA Cup final for Coventry City and would join Darlington just 4 years later? So he won the
my
FA Cup in
God.
1987 with Coventry. 4 years
Coventry.
later, he's signing for Darlo.
The only person I can think of in that Coventry side is a Pooley, is Hodgson.
Hodgson did
It's not
score. I
Hodgson.
don't know if that diving header, wasn't it, Keith?
Yeah,
Hodgson?
he did. I remember
Of
that
course,
diving
went on
header
to
well.
play for and manage Hartlepool. He's not the one I'm looking for, Paul. I can hand it over to Andy.
Go on,
You'd like
Andy.
to
You're
have
going
a
to have
guess
to
on
rescue
that?
me.
Yeah, I think it's Kevin Smith, isn't it?
He's not the answer I've got.
Oh.
I don't think Smudger was in that 87 Cup final. Could be wrong.
I don't think he played.
No.
He might have been there, but yeah, he didn't. He
Yeah.
definitely didn't play. So yeah, fair enough.
So the answer I was after was Nick Pickering. You might remember Nick Pickering.
Yeah, very good.
Saw him score direct from a corner for Darlo once in front of
I can hear Craig Stoddart shouting at the podcast now that we didn't know that. He will not be happy.
He'll be reminding you about that one next time he sees his stuff. So yeah, Nick
To
Pickering.
be fair, I was 6 in 1987 Cup final.
It's no excuse. Nick Pickering, he won 1 England cap against Australia, would you believe, in a game at Melbourne. Right, so it's 1-0 Andy. Andy, question 2. I'm coming back to you. Who scored Darlington's first goal in their Northern League season?
Oh, so it was Bishop Auckland, wasn't it? First game of the season.
Yeah.
Was it Leon Scott?
It was not. Sorry, got to take your first answer. Paul, I'll throw it out to you on the off chance you want to have a guess. You think about that Northern League season. Who might have got the first goal? It wasn't Leon Scott.
I'm going to have to pass on it, Adam.
All right. Well, I can tell you, it was Arjun Purewal. So not Amar. It was Arjun with a header. I think we got 1-0 down, I think.
Yeah, we did, yeah.
We went 1 down. I think Arjun scored with a header, if I've remembered it right. So, all right, so no point there. Paul, your second question. Which club did Darlington play in their first game at Blackwell Meadows?
First game of Blackwell Meadows. Oh, blimey. Talking about a period where I wasn't quite as switched on with supporting Darlington here.
Yeah.
Got a pass. I have no idea. Andy.
I was there and I was squeezed behind the tin shed. It was a 3-2 win against Halifax Town, I believe.
It was, yeah. FC Halifax Town.
FC Halifax
That's
Town,
the
of
one.
course, yeah.
So you don't get a point for that.
Okay.
All right, sorry.
That's fine.
Then the rules, mate. Then the rules. But still, so it's 1-0. 1-0, Andy. So, Andy, this is your third question.
Okay.
Which midfielder, currently captain at League One side Reading, made 2 substitute appearances for Darlington back in 2014? He's now captain of a Reading.
Lewis Wing.
You'd be right, Lewis Wing. Yep. He's from Newton Aycliffe, Paul, I can tell you, Lewis Wing. Yeah, went to school at Woodham.
Right.
Not the good school in Newton Aycliffe that we went to.
No.
Yeah, I think...
Can't recall him from around town.
No, he's...
Unlike Ross Turnbull, who used to live in my street.
Since leaving Darlington. He's... I think he had a spell with the Borough, didn't he? And then, was it Sheffield Wednesday?
Yeah, he's had some great clubs, to be fair.
He
Yeah,
has.
some big clubs, yeah.
Very well. Okay, so, 2-0 Andy. Right, Paul,
I can't claw it back now, can I?
You
got more questions?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
You could get a draw, mate. You could get a draw. You need to get this right.
There we go.
All right. Who scored the winner when Darlo came back from 2-0 down to defeat Burnley in the FA Cup at the Riverside Stadium in 1998?
I was there, and I saw it. Despite the fog, it was Mark Bernard.
It was Mark Bernard. Well done. Yes, we'll never forget that moment, will we?
That was such a great moment. That game was brilliant.
The Darlo moments, it's got to be up there, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant. All right, so Andy, need to get this right, I think. So it's 2-1. This is your last question. Steve Staunton oversaw a disastrous time in charge of Darlo between 2009 and 2010. Of his 24 games in charge, how many did he win? Was it 3, 4, or 5 games?
Before you gave the answers, I had 3 in my head, so I've got to go with 3. I don't know if it's right, but it's a pure guess. Yeah.
Okay, pure guess. It's wrong. Sorry.
Right. Okay.
4. It was 4 games.
All
right. So Paul, you can snatch
it's my opportunity.
An unlikely draw here and take it to golden goal. All right. So Paul, your question is: Staunton's replacement was Simon Davey, who had a very brief stint in charge before his abrupt departure. Of his 10 games in charge, how many did he win? Was it 2, 3, or 4?
I'm going to go 2.
You're going 2? Yep.
Yeah.
I can tell you the correct answer is 3.
I'd have said 2 as well. Yeah.
3 games. He did all right. I think it was 3 wins, 2 draws, and 5 defeats. I mean, we were essentially relegated at that point. I think when Davey came in.
Turbulent time.
He buggered off to America, didn't he? I think that's what happened. I think he might still be there now. But yeah, Simon Davey. All right, so I didn't need to use a tiebreaker question, but I'll give it to you anyway. Which was, if anyone listened to the last podcast, there was a question about John Budgie Burridge. He was the oldest ever Premier League player. The question was, how many clubs did John Burridge have in his entire career? Yeah, just want to throw a number out there. It's quite high. What would be your guess, Andy?
I'm going to say 18.
18. What would you have gone, higher or lower, Paul?
I was going to go higher. I was thinking 20.
Well, you'd have been closest, Paul. It was 29.
Wow.
29 clubs, John Burridge.
Not as many as Jefferson Louis, though, right?
Jefferson Louis, yeah. I think he's been a quiz question before. Jefferson Airplane, yeah.
I just remember seeing John Burridge play for us and just thinking he looked ancient, and now I'm older than that.
Now we're like considerably older than John Burridge was back then. Yeah.
He looked geriatric behind that goal.
Isn't it? All right, so thank you, guys. This has probably been one of the more testing podcast recordings I've done, just to kind of break the fourth wall, listener. We had a lot of technical problems at the start, sadly, with one of the guests, unfortunately. So, but Andy was the. Is it the White Knight? Is that the expression? Or I don't know what the expression is, but Super sub.
Yeah, let's go with
that. Came in and rescued it at the last minute. So many thanks to you both, guys, and thank you, listener, as well. And this will be the last podcast of the year. So wishing you a very Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. We'll be back in 2026. Hopefully, Darlo continuing that top 7 push. You can give us a review on Spotify, iTunes, wherever you get this podcast. That would really help. And if you really like the pod, you can even buy it a coffee now. So I'll put the link in the episode description. So wishing you all the very best. So thank you, guys, and Merry Christmas, everyone.